Why does he think he can do it there? Well, look at C here. Look at C at the final fantastic graphic from Kevin. Here we go. Why is Nikki Haley still carding almost a quarter of the vote in Indiana in a race that's been over since March? Why come? What is the reason for this? Here's what should be telling. Indiana had a hot and heavy primary this year, and there was a lot of contest on both sides, and it was a big turnout primary year. So some of these folks are protest voters, and other folks are just Republicans who came out and punched the ticket for Nikki Haley while they were there. Those are the voters. Why, you ask yourself, why is Joe Biden in Wisconsin today? Why is he where he is in Wisconsin today? He's sucking up to those voters. He wants to talk to those voters and say, give us a chance over here.
Steyerwalt breaks it down. So as we look at those numbers, I think some folks might look at that and say, okay, if she's grabbing 20%, let's say, why doesn't he just make her the VP?
Oh, right.
I know there's mistrust and distrust there, but I mean, if it's a base turnout and she's still, you thought that was a crazy question?
No, it's not crazy.
No, Aaron thinks it's crazy.
I just don't see a path for Nikki Haley to get on that ticket with him. Yeah, there's too much animosity there. And I understand that Donald Trump and Ron DeSantis may have seemingly buried the hatchet, but that doesn't mean he's at the same place with Nikki Haley at this point.
No, and Trump also has to worry about Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
How does he get those votes? If it's not her on the ticket, how does he get those votes?
He stops. He's found innocent of the whole porn star issue he's in here in New York, because a lot of people care about that, or in that 20%. I'm telling you they do. I'm telling you that there are values voters in the Republican parties who are not hypocrites or sheep. They are going to do what they think is right, and I don't think they believe in this man anymore.
It's the economy. If he's got to be talking about the things that the American people are saying that they care about, it's the economy and the border, the things that Joe Biden is weakest on. Joe Biden was in Wisconsin today talking about jobs and a $3 billion investment by a private company to bring jobs there, and he was hitting Trump on Foxconn. But what he forgot to remember is that Foxconn still employs 1,200 people in the state of Wisconsin, so there are still voters he's alienating as he's trying to deliver an economic message. Nostril
of all of those voters in the WOW counties to the north and west and in Racine County is going to be that Donald Trump is unfit. They're going to see, so the Biden campaign is starting to take advantage of its cash advantage. And they're starting to spend, and the swing state dump is on. And the message for these voters, both of you are right in your own way, but the core message with these voters is, you are disgusted by Donald Trump. Donald Trump is unfit for command, and you can't vote for him. Doesn't matter if you vote for Joe Biden. You just can't vote for this guy.
That 20% remembers the year 2020. They remember the chaos of 2020. A lot of people have forgotten it. But those 20% that keep showing up, I believe they remember it clearly. And I think that your question about Nikki Haley is absolutely right.
I just think the average person who doesn't follow politics might look at the numbers and be like, okay, so pick her.
It's a fair question. It's just not a reality.
The irony.
Thank you for watching, and make sure you go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.